European Union has dashed Ukraine's hopes of becoming a member of the wealthy bloc anytime soon. This has, of course, come after the European Union leaders gathered to discuss the war in Ukraine and their response. And the burning questions, of course, were how far does the EU go with the economic sanctions? How quickly do they cut Russian gas and oil imports? And whether or not to let Kiev join the bloc meeting in the Palace of Versailles outside of Paris. The EU leaders were treading a very fine line between their wish to support Ukraine and also to not get sucked into a war with the nuclear-armed Russia. Speaking to the reporters just before the meeting, the French President Emmanuel Macron's message to Ukraine seemed to be no membership for now, but then never say never.
Nous aurons une discussion ce soir, elle est importante, parce que d'abord, je pense qu'il faut envoyer un signal fort dans cette période à l'Ukraine et aux Ukrainiens. Dans le même temps, il faut que nous soyons vigilants. Est-ce qu'on peut aujourd'hui ouvrir une procédure d'adhésion avec un pays en guerre? Je ne le crois pas. Est-ce qu'on doit fermer la porte et dire jamais? Ce serait injuste. Est-ce qu'on peut oublier les équilibres de la région? Il faut faire attention.
And just before the summit began, Macron and the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz had spoken to President Vladimir Putin in a joint phone call, demanding for an immediate ceasefire. The demands were, of course, denied, and Macron admitted that he does not see a diplomatic solution to the war in the coming few days. The leaders also discussed sanctions. The question, of course, is, do they impose more sanctions on Russia? Latvia's Prime Minister seemed pretty keen on doing so, saying that Ukraine was fighting their fight, and Europe needs to go further in hurting Russia financially. The Belgian Prime Minister Alexander De Croo described the situation as Europe's 9/11. Russia's invasion, remember, has shattered the European security order that had emerged after the Second World War and the collapse of the Soviet Union back in 1991.
Multiple bloody crimes against civilians, including Russia.
Now, Europe fears that their standoff with Russia will only worsen in the coming years, and leaders have sought to agree on how quickly they can, of course, reduce imports of Russian energy to shore up their defense capabilities. Now, inflation is another big issue that the EU is, of course, dealing with as a fallout of this war. The rise in food prices, Europe's future has been deeply entwined with this war in Ukraine, which so far has resulted in 2 million refugees, Ukrainian refugees, pouring into Europe. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.